What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Tall Podcast. Today, we're going to do a live stream. I didn't really feel like editing a video when it comes to the two people in the bottom of the screen. Plus, it's been a long time anticipated live stream collab with my guy, Mr. Dugas. But for those who don't know you, with some people already shouting you out in the chat, but for those who don't know you or what you do, let them know where they can find you and talk your talk.
What's up, everybody, man? It's Mr. Dugas. Y'all can find me at Mr. Dugas on YouTube. As you can see, mr.dugas. Got Eagles content also. Plus I do a little bit of other stuff too. I'll talk about other NFL news, NBA, MLB, and everything. But y'all come check me out, man.
Definitely. So, like I said, it's been an interesting off season. We wait a week, we get rid of Doug Peterson. We think that the reason we get rid of Doug Peterson is for Carson Wentz. We think that Carson Wentz wanted Doug out. That was the whole, wow, we really got rid of a coach for the quarterback. And then boom, now more reports come out, because every report that comes out is kind of making the other one look like there was some falseness to it. But now it's that everybody, not even just Carson Wentz, we hear other players voicing their opinions on Howie Roseman, but Carson Wentz won't return his calls, and that's the biggest culprit. What's your take on just the whole situation with Howie Roseman?
You know what's funny is that when we first, like you said, when we thought we fired Doug for Carson Wentz, and I thought we hired Nick Sirianni for Carson Wentz also, because he's basically, the right-hand man to Frank Wright, who was here when Wentz had his MVP, type season. I think what a lot is going on is that, Wentz feels some type of way. I thought they truly thought that Wentz was going to be buy back in, but I guess they got feedback from the locker room. They got feedback from Wentz and his camp. And we've gotten to this point here, which is it's really hard to believe, man. Literally just the other day, it was the 3-year anniversary, of the Super Bowl. We looking at the situation like, okay, we got a head coach with, the most innovative offense probably in the NFL, who got guts. We got a young ascending quarterback who we thought was Mahomes like, and now we're at this point. But it just goes to show you right now the organization is in a little bit of a flux. They really don't know what they want to do. Now it's at a point where Howie's like, okay, give me a Matthew Stafford type deal for Carson Wentz. But in reality, in the Matthew Stafford deal, Jared Goff was the one, sent away with the contract. You can't really expect teams to give you 2 firsts, a third, a player, and a big contract for a underperforming quarterback, though we know he has great potential. But let's call it what it is. He's been underperforming, So I'm really interested to see who's going to bite first. Will Howie bite? Will the Bears or the Colts bite? Or is there a mystery team? The 49ers, the Patriots, Carolina, somebody of that nature. But it's some real intriguing stuff, man.
Hey, you said it perfectly. Like I agree 100%. When it comes to the situation, it's like who's going to bite first when it comes to the outside teams and just what's going on in this organization. Is there really mystery teams, or is that Howie Roseman? Because over the last week, the leaks that have been coming out of the organization, from more reports on Carson Wentz, from just any little movement of the situation, is leaked in a different way, and that has to be on purpose. Like, organizations are ran tight. Bad ones let loose things out, but it was pretty tight until this situation arises. Like, we heard the stuff 2 years ago on Carson Wentz, but that's more of a player controversy. Now we're hearing all these drips and drabs, and it's not really the Bears, it's not the Colts, it's Howie Roseman trying to catch a big fish. He's had some good trades in the past. Like we talked about backstage, being able to get a guy like Kiko Alonso and Byron Maxwell off the contract, big trades with Jay Ajayi. He did a lot of good stuff. But I feel like, he's starting to lose it, and he's starting to press that button, that panic button, and he did it too much. he really put Carson Wentz's name with Carson Wentz being silenced through the gutter. How could he turn back around and say, you know what? We're not going to get 2 first rounds. We might not even get 1. I might want to pull this trade back. Hey, Carson, you want to go get lunch? I don't know how that could be done. I don't understand how that could be done. We already knew that Carson was feeling some type of way. We heard that he wanted to be out. We heard that he kind of wants to be out. And we heard he didn't say nothing. I mean, we've heard everything, whether it's a lie or the truth. But to me, it's like, you done went this far. You got to make something happen now. And I'm definitely going to miss Carson Wentz because I do believe in a talent. But I can't look at anybody in the eye and say that he played good in 2020. And I do agree when people say, well, look at everything around him. Doug wasn't his best in 2020. The O-line wasn't. We saw Mahomes get beat up badly without an offensive line, and I'm not comparing them to because Mahomes is way better. But you see how important the supporting cast is. So you can say there's context behind that, and maybe Howie Roseman is using it. Look what he did in 19. Look what he did in 17 when the team was right. You guys got a team that's right. He might be right for Frank Wright. You know what I mean? No pun intended. But it's hard to sell that because when you're up in this quarterback to a guy on the phone, he's probably going to be like, well, if he's that good, why don't you keep him? You know what I mean? So like, what is your selling point at that point? And I think it's just the disconnect from the offense, the front office, I should say, to your supposedly franchise quarterback. And I just don't see it going away. But we all know March 19th, he gets a roster bonus. So do you see this happening in the next week or two? Or are we dragging this out all the way to March?
It's a good chance it may drag out to March. I think he will definitely be gone, before that March 19th date. And I wanted to you made a great point just a while ago when you said that the top organizations are now putting all this he say, she say stuff out. Even look like the Patriots, look all the moves they've made over the years. You didn't see them coming. Even with us in 2017, nobody seen Jay Ajayi getting traded to us for a 4th round pick. That came out of nowhere. Even with Jeffrey Lurie, he's talking a lot now. Like Jeffrey Lurie used to talk probably once a year, maybe twice if that. But now he's talking seamlessly every other week. This is a big move for Howie because Howie has to get this thing right. Howie has to get as much as he can back and possible for this team. Now, I'll give Howie credit after the Chip Kelly debacle. He did a good job of piecing the team back together. Howie may be better in a rebuilding a team mode than keeping a team afloat mode. So this is, to me, a chance for Howie to, get back people on his side. If he could say get a first or an impact type of player, because we know he has a lifetime contract. Like that's Jeffrey Lurie's guy. Like he when he's gone, his son's gonna take over, his grandkids. Like he has a lifetime contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. He has to get it. Carson can't stay. Like one thing that can't happen is after, like you said, they dragged him out through the mud, through the gutter, made him, quite honestly, look very bad in the national eye. He made him look like a crybaby and all this other stuff. So a bad teammate, he has to go. Now, what Howie got to do is, you got to move him. He's going to move him before March 19th. I definitely agree with that. I think that will happen. What he gets back in return, though, is the big question. What I say for right now, keep trying to, push the issue a little bit, for like, say, another couple of weeks or so. But then when it get closer to, that deadline and free agency and everything, then it's like, all right. I'll take, a second or whatever. Because right now, you got to get anything of value right now. It would be great for him to fleece somebody. But with his reputation over the last couple of years, the misses in the draft, the bad free agencies. People don't want to be like, I'm not letting that guy fleece me. Like, that's what the other GMs, and like you said with Chicago, their GM is on the hot seat.
Heck
You
yeah.
know, like, so he has to like
He
not come
can't
out
make
of
an,
this looking very, very bad.
he can't make another mistake. If Wentz goes there, he has to be 2017 Wentz or he's in trouble.
Right, right. And it don't matter what he gave up for Wentz. Like Wentz gotta go there and like you say, look great. So yeah, it's big, man. It's very, very interesting to see what happens. But I feel like he should go hard for another week or two and then kind of tone it back and be like, okay, you know what? I tried. Look, everybody, I try. He's gonna put it out there that he tried. That's one thing. He's gonna cover his backside.
Mm-hmm.
So just take, at that point, then just take a second or whatever you could get from at that point. Because Wentz cannot come back to the team.
Hey, yeah, man, it would be a hard way to look at him. The players, Howie Roseman, even Carson Wentz looking at the whole organization alone. But real quick, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 83 in here. Make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you don't know who he is, which a lot of people in the chat definitely do, make sure you go subscribe to his channel too. But the like button is free. Make sure you hit that. And like I said, shout out to you guys. We're going to get to some questions in a little, but I haven't got my guy, Mr. Dugas, on here, but y'all been keeping it real in the chat. They're pretty much saying the same thing we are saying. If you had to think of the most honest deal where, it's not a super fleece, but it's not giving Carson Wentz up for nothing, what do you think the honest deal, if we're dealing with the Bears, let's just say the Bears are top. Well, actually, let's do this. What do you think we could get from the Colts and the Bears? You're good. You're good.
All right. Yeah.
So, give me your most rational trade package for Bears and Eagles and Colts and Eagles.
That's a great question. If I had to make the deal tonight, like if it had to happen tonight, you know what? I would, because of the contract and because of the poor play, I say a second and an impact play, one of their players. Whether it's he hasn't had great production, but I think he's someone, if he could stay healthy, he could be, another receiver we could throw out there, like Anthony Miller, somebody like that. I would ask about Roquan Smith. I would throw that out there, but if they don't do that, then it's like, give me a second rounder and a player, like a player that could come in and, be not a star, but a player that could come in and contribute right away. Because to be fair, man, he played horrible last year, man. Like, he was horrible, man. I mean, like, he was horrible. And that contract is bad. Like, Wentz looks really bad right now. And it's not just as a player, but everything about him being a teammate. So, try, but I would say I would be happy if I found out we got a second and a player.
All right. That's keeping it 100. It's keeping it good. And like you said, we can't sugarcoat what happened to him. But real quick, shout out to my guy Reese Scott, who just became a member to the Philly Talk podcast. Shout out to you, my guy, Philly all day. What's going on, Reese Scott? But listen, here's my take on that. I believe if the reports are true, and I'm not saying they are, I'm not saying they ain't, but if organizations believe that he's really uncoachable, that he's really hard-headed, that he's, there's people in the locker room that he's not willing to relate to, and just the favoritism and what he does in the organization, if they believe that is more detrimental than his 2020 play. Because any legit GM, any legit head coach will see this. Why did Mahomes look so bad? Why do other quarterbacks struggle in bad situations? Jared Goff, I'm not saying he's good, but under Jeff Fisher, he was horrible. He was 2020 Wentz and even worse. Then they get Sean McVay, and he does take him to the Super Bowl. And he did have he was a Pro Bowler. Forget what you know about Jared Goff last year. Jared Goff has at least one season where you could say, okay, upper echelon type quarterback. I'm not going to say top 5, top 10, but you can give him a solid 12 piece. That's what Jared Goff did under a good system. So you got a guy like a Kyle Shanahan, a Frank Wright, a play caller and a head coach who really feels confident in themselves as a tough coach on a player who can get the best out of a player. I think the 2020 is a blink of an eye because the Eagles as a whole was bad. I think what's more detrimental is the locker room stuff because that might not be changeable. You might get a guy over here trying to be tough and can't change it. And also shout out to my guy, Reese Scott, who just joined the Philly Talk podcast channel membership with the $2 super sticker. Shout out to you, my guy. Appreciate you for coming through. But yeah, man, it would be demoralizing to get a second just because, the Bears second, where I forgot where the Bears are picking. They didn't make the playoffs. So I think they're picking at I
know they got the 20th pick in the first round.
Oh yeah, they do because that's not their normal pick. They traded it, right?
I think that is because they was because they had an extra playoff teams this year because they was like the worst playoff team this season.
Oh yeah, they did get beat. Wait, no, the Bears didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, they lost to the Saints. They was like the 7th seed.
They did. I forgot. Yeah, I did forget about that. You're right. So yeah, 20 sounds right. So the second round, that's like the 40th overall pick.
No, it is.
What am I lying? 20. That's like the 52nd overall pick.
Yeah, and I would level first, but if push came to shove, I would take, like you said, it's the locker room stuff, because the play we could easily say, well, look his O-line, look his receiving core, look the play calling, but when you got all he's uncoachable and he asked to be traded because he played bad, and the rookie came in and played. Then with him, though it was his agent advising him that, or that was him on his own, him being quiet, with the midst of everything going on, people wanted him to kind of say a little something about Doug when Doug got fired. People wanted him to kind of say a little something about the new coach when he got hired. And, the only thing he really said was, congratulating Rodney McLeod on being the man of the year nominee for the team. So when you throw all that into effect, it really looks bad. So yeah, like I said, I would prefer first, but if we get a second and a player, I'd be like, okay, let's just move on here. Though we still got some money against the cap this season with him being gone. We know that in a year or so, that money is off the books, and we could really, really start trying to, put this thing back together as far as with free agents. Hopefully we hit on these draft picks this year. And if we do that, and then when the money starts freeing up, we could make another run at this thing. If Hurts, assuming his trajectory is going higher and higher as far as his play.
Yeah. Real quick, shout out to my guy Kevin Bacon with the $4.99 super chat. He said DeFilippo and Press Taylor just got promotion. Looks like both teams are getting suited and booted for Carson Wentz. And I will say this: you got Press Taylor gets hired to Frank Wright's staff in Indianapolis. BFFs they were. I'm not saying he's a good quarterback coach or not, but he gets hired to that staff. And DeFilippo for the Bears gets promoted to offensive coordinator / quarterback coach now. So
I think that's what it is.
You got two guys who are there. And to address real quick, my guy Infamous 2K and my guy Brandon Hart. I'm not saying he's uncoachable because I do. I will agree that maybe he got a little bit more hard-headed as he performed. Listen, 2016, very coachable, 17 coachable. And with being coachable, he saw what he did. And his mechanics were better, but they weren't fantastic in 17. Just
Right.
like Mahomes. Mahomes' mechanics look sloppy, but he gets it done with a beautiful pass. And I'm not saying they're the same quarterback, but in 17, Wentz was the Mahomes before the Mahomes in 17.
Yes.
So when he got that head that I am the best, you see what I can do? I can flick it 45 yards down the field on one knee. When he got that mentality, he's like, Doug, why are you going to tell me how to play quarterback? Bro, I got it. I'm not saying it's a disrespectful thing. I just think it was a mentality. And I'm not saying a guy can't bring it out. Nick Sirianni could well bring it out. And also, you got to look at Carson Wentz knows deep down he played bad in 2020. And I know he wants to get it corrected. The dude is a fierce competitor. I ain't never questioned Carson Wentz's ability to fight when he's on the field. I think he never gives up. He will risk every bone in his body for the team he's playing with, and I respect that out of him. Right. I really do. Sometimes I think him trying too hard and pressing got him in trouble because this ain't a team you can press with. We stink. We stink around him.
Right.
So I think that what I'm saying is if the outside world believes it, I think what hurts his trade value more is the possibility of being hard-headed rather than a horrible 2020 season. Because for those just getting in here, I think smart coaches will say, I don't care what he looked like in 2020. The Eagles stunk.
Right.
I can get that man right. I just think, and again, listen, if I do something wrong and I get caught for doing it, I'm going to not do it again. You know what I mean? So if Carson Wentz goes into another locker room, he's going to say, yo, I'm going to treat these guys different. If that is the case, I am not coming out and saying it is. But you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. That's what I believe. I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. And it might not be to the exact T, but I do think there's something there. Real quick, before I get your take on that. Similis with the smile. I'm horrible with names. With the $5 super chat. Shout out to my guy. He said the Eagles are losing leverage the longer they wait around. Always last to make moves. How do you feel about that? You think we're losing leverage, waiting around longer?
Yeah, I agree because people thinking about it more because we're getting closer and closer, to free agency, to the draft and everything. So I agree with that. And one real quick point to be fair to Wentz in all of this, because we know about everything with him, but they didn't really. I know they gave him the money. But to be fair to him, he kind of got done wrong a little bit in this organization. When you think about the misses in the draft with the receivers, I mean, if we had either DK Metcalf or Justin Jefferson, things would be going much better. In the second round, just when he got over his Nick Foles phobia, with Foles being gone and him carrying the team into the playoffs, and then he unfortunately getting knocked out. Okay, he's like, all right, here we go, time to retool, and then bam, it's a quarterback in the second round. So that, now granted, I know a lot of people gonna feel like, well, look, Rodgers didn't let Jordan Love bother them and this and that. Rodgers is a veteran, man. Like, Rodgers been along. Rodgers done won a Super Bowl. Rodgers done been there, done that.
And his team was better. His team was better around him.
Exactly. Much better. And, I mean, Rodgers came out and said that, didn't he say he had took a shot of whiskey or something like that when he seen the pick? Rodgers could speak his mind in that organization, and it's no blowback to him. Whereas far as Wentz don't have that type of street cred, as far as, an NFL career to be able to be as demonstrative and all that as an Aaron Rodgers. So to be fair to him, he kind of got done a little bit of a tough, situation to deal with. Now, he could have handled it a little better than he did, but at the same time, we just got to hope going forward that whenever this deal happens, because it has to happen, like I said, it is no way that he could come back to this team for OTAs and training camp. Is no way, So assume like it's going to happen, and hopefully this organization, like I said, does better going forward to support Jalen Hurts, more than it did supporting Carson Wentz, as far as because even look, year 2, we got Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith. We traded for Jay Ajayi. bam, we in the Super Bowl. You know,
Yep.
he's the MVP of the league before, his ACL situation. So we got to come out there and we got to do a better job of supporting, Jalen Hurts going forward.
Hey, my thing is this. I have a problem going again. Y'all don't really know me from back in the day, Eagles, because I only started my channel about a year and a half ago. But listen, people used to rag on McNabb because there was a lot of McNabb haters, and people say nobody went this hard for McNabb, bro. I was ready to go to war for McNabb. That was my guy. And at the end of the day,
Yeah, me
once
too.
a quarterback is named starter for the Eagles, I'm going to defend you until you're no longer there. And when you start acting dumb, when you start doing stuff on the field wrong, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt until it's like no longer available. You know what I mean? And that's why I do
Right.
believe people who say you can't really talk about Carson Wentz because it was one bad year. I'm a believer that it was one. It was a really bad one, but there is context. There's context. If Carson Wentz has a starting offensive line and he looks like this, it's different. If he got Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson the whole year and he looks like this, it's different. But at the end of the day, what you see, you have to talk about. You got to put in perspective what you see. But real quick, shout out to my guy Reese Scott with another $5 banger. He says nothing because what are we going to say at this point? But real quick, hey Reese, I never noticed what your YouTube picture says. It says dudes be at their side girl's house watching the game talking about the refs are cheating. Bruh, you is cheating too. That is hilarious, bro. Shout out to you, my guy. I never really noticed that because the YouTube logos be so small. But now I was reading that, I was like, my God. Shout out to my guy Bird Gang Jojo in here. But so I know we're still on the Howie Roseman thing. So wait, you did say earlier in here he has a lifetime contract, and I kind of believe you in that sense. But he does have one more year on his deal. Do you think there's a scenario where Jeff Lurie said, "I do want to start over. We got everybody out. We brought everybody new in." Is there a scenario where he's like, Howie, I want you to, we're not talking about turn us into a Super Bowl contender, but Howie, do your little rebuild magic. And if what you present on the field in 2021 makes me think that we can compete in a year or two, I'll get you another contract. But if you can't show me something good with the cap to the field in 2021, listen, I love you, bro. You can still come over for dinner every Saturday, but we got to go our separate ways after your contract's over. So it's not like you fired him. It's the contract. You can make it look like Howie's opting out after his contract ended. So it's more of a respectable fire. Do you believe that if Howie doesn't get it right this year, there's a chance he could be fired when his contract is up, or he's still just going to be back at the dinner table?
Man, I hope I'm wrong about this. I really do. But my gut tell me, man, he's right back at the dinner table, coming in, telling everybody, hey, how y'all doing? Y'all ready? How y'all doing today? What we got for breakfast? And then everybody at the table just looking, rolling their eyes like when are you going to leave? But Jeffrey Lurie, I believe, will get somebody to come in and quote unquote help him before he just tells him you're no longer part of this organization. He said we supposedly have what in his press conference when he said we have 5 capable GMs in his organization. So he may promote one of them as far as having more say so as far as the final draft selection. But I will be shocked and stunned if Howie Roseman is no longer part of this organization. I will be completely surprised. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. To me, I wanted him gone, man, especially after that Seattle Monday night game, seeing what DK was doing out there. I'm like, and Louis Riddick, who we all know has a little personal thing with Howie Roseman, kept saying on the ESPN broadcast, how can you, put this type of team together and they need better personnel, this and that. And he was just going in on Howie, man. But I don't see it, yo. I just don't see it. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it.
Hey, everybody in the chat, we got 176 people in here. Before I read this super chat, listen, if you haven't hit that like button, it goes a long way to pushing this stream out to other Philly fans. But listen, everybody in the chat real quick, let me know, not what you want, because if I say what you want, it's everybody saying Howie Roseman is going after this year. But try to use a kind of little bit what you want, but also how Jeffrey Lurie is. Now, again, the contract is up in a year. If Howie Roseman does good, will he be back? But if he does bad in this year, do you see a scenario where Jeff Lurie says, look, I'm not going to fire you to make you look bad, but your contract's up. We're going a new coaching staff. We're a young team. We're going a new way. Chat, let me know if there's any possible chance that Howie Roseman, after 1 year, is gone. Not your gut feeling, your brain feeling. Let me know in the chat. And shout out to my guy Joseph Vega with the I repeat, $2 super chat. He said, I wouldn't trade Wentz. He will come to play in 2021. Hey, Joseph Vega, I know you're a big Wentz guy. And listen,
it's my guy. That was my guy too now.
Hey, yeah, listen, guys, before you guys click on this video, but did you check the thumbnail out? My guy, Mr. Dugas, rocking the Wentz jersey. Listen,
there it is.
Do you know how I got that picture? I went all the way back to the first video of the season when we lost to Washington, and you had that long rant at your table, and I cropped it out of that one. I said, that's a good one for this one.
Oh man, that was so, man, that was horrible, man. That was, and he started off that game so great. 3 drives, 3 scores, a touchdown to Ertz, touchdown to Goddard. And even on the field goal drive, he threw a beautiful bomb to Vega. I'm like, oh, here we go, man. But oh man, that was my guy, man. Like that was my guy, man. But I got in plenty of arguments and fights with Cowboy fans and just other fan bases about Carson Wentz versus Dak Prescott and all this other stuff, man. So it's a, I wish him well, except for if it affects the Eagles, obviously. But he can't come back to the locker room. I feel like the locker room wants Jalen Hurts to be the guy. They showed a thing with Miles Sanders, like when he thought Miles is the one guy that he's not making it a secret at all. Nah. He gushes when you talk about Jalen Hurts. Like he loves him, man. So it's like, and then other people, they say there was a well-respected offensive player. That was a report that went to Doug during the season, and hey, we have to sit Carson. So it's the locker room. He can't go back in that locker room, yo.
Yeah, to me, if look, the last 4 or 5 days, what we've seen thrown out there from reports on Carson Wentz, reports how close a trade is, how aggressive we are trading him, how we went from now we want to keep him to see ya, how all that happened. If Carson Wentz is back, I feel like he's gonna walk down that NovaCare complex like the walk of shame, and it's like wrong.
Oh yeah,
it's wrong. Yeah. So my thing is, you could have handled it better. Hold up 1 second. Did we listen? I never mind, because I was going to say, did we know that Jared Goff was going to be traded for Matthew Stafford? And I forgot that, what's his name? Sean McVay straight said in a press conference.
Oh, yeah.
He's our quarterback for now. So that was kind of disrespectful too, but then they got it done quickly. So it is what it is. Like I said, a lot of speculation I don't go off of, but as a grown man, I also think it is. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Again, a lie could be spread easily. Don't get me wrong. And I do hear veterans come out and protect them. But again, I just don't know. Whoever's the quarterback, I'm going to support 100%. But like I said, it's a fine line of being able to go back. It's like, you know what I mean? After you break up, hey, listen, if you were married and you get a really ugly divorce, you know what I mean? Right. It's not likely you guys are going to be able to work things out. You know what I mean? Even if it's for the kid, you might have to go your own way, simple and plain.
Right.
Shout out to my guy Kevin Bacon with another $4.99 super chat. He said, "Ain't no respect, Mike. I want him egged while being escorted off the premises by security." My God.
Dang, man.
He said egged off. Listen,
oh man.
He said we threw snowballs at Santa. Now my guy Kevin Bacon wants to throw eggs at my guy Carson Wentz. Man,
ouch.
Has it come a long way?
A lot happens in 3 years, man.
Tell me about it. But so I know this is mainly about them, but let's talk about the actual draft. Let's talk about the draft. You know, we're talking about possibly losing Carson Wentz. And again, this title is Howie Roseman going to somehow keep Carson Wentz because of the amount? But let's say we get rid of Carson Wentz. You know, we trade him. I don't know what we get. Real quick, since I don't talk to you much on here, collab wise, what is your preference with the 6th overall pick?
Honestly, I want a corner. I really want a corner. Patrick Surtain is a guy that I really like. You know, he could really take over one side of the field. You have him on one side, Slay on another side. Because don't get me wrong, I love Jamar Chase out of LSU. I think he's a stud. Devontae Smith is very, very productive. I worry about his size, though. I worry about his size in a normal NFL offense instead of the everybody run wide open offense at Alabama. But I feel like you could get a good, solid receiver. Though I know who the guy's picking the receiver. I know, but hopefully this time he finally get it right. You could get a good, solid receiver later on. It's rare to get really, really good, really shut down type of cornerbacks later in the draft. You know, you hear more great receivers later on than cornerbacks. So me, I would love a corner to go opposite of Slay, and then whenever we move on from Slay, and who knows, a year or two or whatever, you know, we got that guy already in place.
Yeah, and that's coming from a diehard LSU fan. LSU fan.
Yes.
And again, Jamar Chase balled out when Justin Jefferson, the rookie wide receiver of the year, was there. It stinks that he had to opt out for COVID, which I totally understand. When you look at these guys, both having, you know, he was the Heisman in 2020. Jamar Chase was the best receiver in 2019. When you look at them, though, you automatically think that Jamar Chase has the better body, Pauls, for the NFL. I mean, he's just that type of animal. But listen, I'm going to be dropping sooner rather than later. I keep saying it, but I want to get this Carson Wentz stuff out of here before I do it. But I'm going to do a comparison video, Devontae Smith versus Jamar Chase. I'll give my take then there, but one of them is going to be taken. And I honestly think, even though what's his name? Devontae Smith is the Heisman. I think that the Miami Dolphins are going to go that Penny Sewell. So I forgot how to say his name, the left tackle.
Well,
and I think the Bengals are going to take Jamar Chase to bring back that Joe Burrows, Jamar Chase connection. So even though I don't know what y'all think, if you think Devontae's better or Chase better, because it goes back and forth when you ask the general public. I think Bengals, who pick at number 5 right before us, is taking Chase no matter what, which then will, because you know, Green is old. He's going to be leaving soon. So I know they need to protect Burrows, but if that Penny Swell or Swole, whatever his name, goes off the board, I think they're going to take Chase, which will make us decide on moving back, this, that, and the third. And I think Patrick Surtain will be there to like 11-ish, 10, 11. I think the Giants will take him if we let him go too far, but I think you can move back a little bit. Like I said, I haven't really did all my focus on the draft. I know the top guys like the Kyle Pitts, the Jalen Waddles, the Devontae Smith, Jamar Chases, the Patrick Surtains, Caleb Farley, who I think might even go off the board before Patrick Surtain, to be honest. But
yeah, he's getting a lot of buzz.
I think you could go back to like 10, 11, 12, 13, possibly recoup a second, and then get one of them defenders. However, there is a sleeper cornerback, and I don't want to say his name wrong here because I'm actually going to be interviewing him on Friday. So I got a guy who played from South Carolina. He played opposite of J.C. Horn, and I'm letting these $1.59 in here. I'm letting you guys know first. I'm actually going to do an interview. I talked to his agent. He set it up. It's not going to be a live because I want to get him to answer the questions. I'm going to post it probably Saturday morning. So listen, got people in the chat. I will be interviewing. And if you're like, let me figure out who the guy's name is. He didn't play in 2020 as well, but he played on opposite side of J.C. Horn, and J.C. Horn's getting buzzed to go late first round, early second. And if my guy was able to hold his own on the opposite of J.C. Horn, I think you could really be happy getting this guy in the third or fourth round if he falls there. The guy I'm going to interview, but it's going to be Friday. So check it out. Check it out. My guy from South Carolina. Hopefully, he gets, it'll be great if I interview him. He gets drafted to the Eagles in the fourth round or third round.
That would be amazing.
Woo, that would be great. But shout out to my guy Reese Scott again with another $2 banger. Pause. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Once you start talking about the draft, it goes crazy. And again, I just don't want the Eagle fans to be like this with the 6th pick in the NFL draft, and you just looking at it and you get one of these Jalen Hurts look again. And again, when I say the Jalen Hurts look, everybody in the chat, don't come kill me. Listen, now that all this commotion happened, you can say 2020 is hindsight, and you could say if we didn't have Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz struggle this bad, then it would be like, oh, we definitely taking a quarterback. So you can say it's good now, but I don't care what anybody says. At the time, it wasn't good because you just put the pen to paper. You just put the pen to paper saying, Carson, we believe in you. And then in fine print, you said, psych, we drafted a quarterback in the second round. So at the time, it was horrible. It
was horrible. Like, I don't remember the last time I was so mad. I really was mad, yo.
No, I agree. I was gonna say shout out to the 2 people in the chat who said my guy's name. And listen, you guys know I'm bad with names, and I'm going to make sure I listen to it over and over again. And you probably know how to pronounce it. I'm just horrible with it, and so I'm going to watch YouTube videos that say his last name so I can get it cemented in my head. But I know he when I talked to his agent, he said you can call him Izzy because that's his nickname. Israel Mukamu, I think. Yeah. But I'm gonna make sure I understand his name exactly before. But listen, we're gonna talk to him on Friday, and maybe he falls to us late. I know he's not. I mean, the dude got some skills, but I don't see him physically being a second round talent. Or, I don't want to poo-poo on his name. That's he's a cool dude.
Right.
But, we'll talk about it. I got some good questions for him. I'm gonna ask him who he wants to match up in the NFL with. Who does he compare his game to? All that good stuff. So shout out to everybody in the chat, though. Let me ask you this. LSU, you watch them. You watch college, like you watch it deep. Mm-hmm. Who do you think will be a nice sleeper linebacker for the Eagles to go to? Like if we don't pick a linebacker early, say we don't get the Micah Parsons, we don't get a second round. Right. If we had to go like maybe third or deeper, do you know of a linebacker you're like, you know what, he might fall, and I think he's solid?
I don't want to sound like a home, but I like Jabril Cox. He's not a thumper necessarily, but I feel like we have thumpers already. TJ Edwards is pretty solid against the run. Singletary is solid against the run. We need linebackers that could cover, that could, when they matched up on tight ends and that nature. And Jabril Cox is excellent in coverage. He's like I'm not saying he's as good as him, but just skill set wise, he's like a poor man's, Isaiah Simmons, just as far as skill set. His athleticism, ability to move sideline to sideline and cover tight ends and running backs out the backfield. So if we went, I think he'll be more like probably second, third round type of guy. But I like Jabril Cox a lot as far as I think he's going to be one of the best coverage linebackers in this draft.
Hey, and that's good because I do not see, no matter what anybody really wants, we don't value linebackers to go that high. So I believe if we did attack the linebacker, if Howie said, you know what, we have the lowest pay linebackers, we invested the least out of all 32 teams in the linebackers, it's time to get at least one. It's not going to be to the second and third. And you got to remember, our third is very early. So if you think he could fall late second, then it could possibly be because our third is so early, we can move up a couple spots. We're not really losing anything if we like him, and or because of so many people opting out. I think there's going to be a little bit more randomness in this draft. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying people are actually going to miss in the draft, but I think there's going to be a little bit of randomness because let's be honest, the people that opted out, it could help them and they also can hurt them. You know, they can be like, we're going off that. And then someone who had a great 2020 season falls back, or likes people who had a great 2020 season, but you don't physically think they're better than the 19 version of whoever else. You know, listen, let's just be honest. If Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase came out of the draft last year, Jamar Chase is up here and Devontae Smith is all the way down here.
Oh, yeah.
But now, because of that, they're more evened out. You know what I mean? In other people's minds. So I think it's going to be very interesting. And again, I'm not into college, but I start doing deep dives on players. And I like when my subs, my guys, my Eagle family hit me up on Twitter and tell me to look at people, because I try not to just type in the highlights. What I try to do is, because there's so many people who would tell you, scouts, not just physically, but on the internet, they'll tell you their worst game and their best game. You know, what they physically think. So I try to watch, you know, their worst game and their best game, and then I can get a better understanding, because highlights are going to make anybody look good. I mean, Nelson Aguilar has Eagle highlights that make him look like he's legit. You know what I mean? For the Eagles, he's pretty legit over there with the Raiders. But I try to watch worst game, best game, and see where he needs to get better and where he thrives at. But real quick, shout out to my guys, Aries Star Win, future of the Eagles, Nate Tankfield. Oh, here we go. Shout out to my guy though with
I like that
banger, yeah, right. Oh, that's what I was saying. Look, I do live play-by-plays, and in the Washington game versus where we put Sudfield in, I was calling him that the whole time. I was like, Tankfield, here comes Tankfield. And so it is what it
That's
is.
Some good stuff. That's some good stuff.
But hey, yeah, so definitely if I got any questions, I know who to go to for some college information, because I know my guy's good. And I think we're going to do a live mock draft with Battlebirds podcast, and we'd be more than happy to have you on too. Do a live mock draft. We talk about it. You know, we get some information. We get some input from the subscribers, the people in the chat who are just flooding. We take them, our thing, and we get like a whole little Eagle group. You know, we put it up on our community post and say, hey, let's see how it fares to the real one, you know?
Right.
Man, it's getting crazy out there, like I said. And I'm so pumped to start talking about the draft and even free agency, even though we don't have bread. I'm curious to start talking about Eagles that we're going to lose, Eagles that we're going to re-sign. But right now, I can't say anything until we know what the big cloud holding over us is. And I'm not saying Carson Wentz is the big cloud of being that bad of a guy. I'm just saying the cloud is the situation. It's a horrible situation we're in. You know, it could have been handled so much better. You could have just really went into it a lot different. And so I don't really know where their talks are. I was actually listening to Bears podcasters say their part. Like, do we really even want Carson, or were we, you know, and what they're hearing in reports? And I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. At first, even with them, the ones I've heard, at first they was excited to get him. But lately, they've been kind of like, you know what? I don't think we really need them. You know, so it's very interesting to see what happens in this situation. And like you said, it's good. The sooner, the better. Just get it over with. Let us digest what we have, what we're going to, if we get a first or a second, or what player we get, and then we could really start looking at our team again going forward. And like there's gonna be veterans, like you said, that's gonna be gone off this team that right now we don't really expect to be gone. You know, I guess the one veteran that we do look at, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, I think Zach Ertz, you know, those are guys that Malik Jackson most likely are guys that I think definitely are going to be gone. But let's see if they let another, you know, high price guy go to shred some cap, you know. So yeah, it's a very, very, very interesting offseason. Just for this organization as a whole. We gotta hit in this draft, yo. We gotta hit in this draft. And the new coaching staff also has to reach the untapped potential out of guys like Jalen Reagor. And speaking of linebackers, Davion Taylor, like what's the situation with him? You know, can he play? Is he just a special teams guy, or is he someone that could actually go out there and, you know, play some quality snaps out there on the football field? Kavon Wallace, another young safety, you know, who showed he wasn't terrible when he was out there.
Nah.
I wanted a little more, but he wasn't terrible. Jalen Mills, another guy that I think is going to be gone, but you never know. I say he's going to be gone because that's Schwartz guy, and Schwartz is gone. Like Schwartz just loves Jalen Mills. Much more than I do. But yeah, it's a very, very, very interesting offseason. Very interesting.
Facts. I do want to touch some Jalen Mills stuff before. I know that's going to really get the chat upset or happy at the same time. Shout out to my guy Cool Eagle with the 4.99 super chat. He said Bear fans need to be grateful for Wentz. I mean, if you look at Nick Foles' performance, you look at Mitchell Trubisky, I think they have no choice. But I think they're also in a situation where they might be firing their coach soon. They might be letting go of their GM soon. They don't got an offensive line too. But listen, real quick, don't tell any Bears organization people nothing. But listen, I love my guy Carson Wentz, but he's going to have some of the same struggles in Chicago that he had with us when it comes to playing. Horrible offensive line, a coach who can't call plays. Remember, Matt Nagy gave up play call in week 12 or week 13. He gave it up to Bill Lazor, and Bill Lazor was garbage. So DeFilippo was horrible as an OC with Minnesota, and now he's the new OC. So listen, the Bears organization is bad. So I really wouldn't wish that on my guy Carson Wentz, but at the end of the day, I need to fill my pockets. It's Eagle Nation over here, you know what I mean? So do not tell no Bears fans that. Now he goes to Indianapolis. That's what's up for him. Well-ran organization, GM's intact, head coach is intact, offensive line's there. And I'll go back to the Bears real quick. Allen Robinson wants out. You know what I mean? So he's going to be throwing
he's probably gone.
He's going to have Jimmy Graham, who's still a tight end. I can't believe it. He's going to have Anthony Miller as his number one target. Like, huh? What?
And Darnell Mooney, he showed a little bit of flashes last year, but still in all a fourth round young guy. So you don't really know what to expect from him, especially with Allen Robinson gone. So that means more targets coming his way. How will he be equipped to that? So you're right, man. They really do have a mess over there personnel wise. And they got the guy Williams who's out there swinging on Chauncey Gardner and dropping wide open touchdown passes in the playoffs. So yeah, it's pretty bad for them over there also.
Yeah, real quick, Christopher Hall. Listen, I did a live call-in a couple days ago. This ain't a call-in. This is my guy, Mr. Dugas, who has a channel himself. So definitely go subscribe to him. But next live call-in, I'll definitely get you, my guy. But real quick, back to the Jalen Mills thing. Let me say this. One, I'm going to talk a little positive on him, and then I'm going to really poo-poo on his name. Jalen Mills played safety in college. We know that. He was a 7th round pick. It's not normal you get something great in the 7th round, but I think what a 7th round normally shows, I think he played above a 7th round standards. However, here's the thing. When he plays corner, he cannot follow the double move. He gets beat on the double moves all day. His tackling was good at the corner position, so he thought going back to safety would transition well. But I will say this. Him going from safety to corner, he didn't start being able to get comfortable at the safety position until later in the season, and the whole defense was trash. With me saying all that, I want to say this. Jalen Mills stinks. He's not good. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but here's the thing I want to say. We all know that Howie Roseman will get that 15 million negative to be some type of positive. I think when it's all said and done, we're going to be around, I want to say 13 or 14 million over. Now, we got to sign our rookies. If we end up signing all our rookies, that's going to cost probably around 7 to 9 million to do all the rookies because they get, after the first round pick, everybody else gets they're cheap. That's why if you get
minimum wage,
if you get good players in the draft, you can really build with free agents. But when you have all your best players as big time money makers, you don't have that gap, and we haven't been able to bridge that gap. But let me just say this. If we only have 7-8 million in free agency spending, how are we going to get another good? And we got corner, we got the second corner to fill. We got safety maybe to fill. Ronnie McLeod tore his
Mm-hmm.
ACL at the end of the season, so he'll be back, but he won't be back into the middle of the season most likely. So
Yeah.
we got spots to fill. And guess what? I know people, listen, people who have kids, Christmas just hit a little bit ago. When you look in your pockets and you're like, dang, I'm broke, but you need to go get some stuff. Where do you go? To the dollar store so you can get the best bang for your buck. So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
If we go in dollar store shopping at corner or safety, Jalen Mills is like, hello. You know what I mean? So it might be another reason why we end up going with him for another small contract, because at the end of the day, who can we get? I know you're going to see these big time receivers. You might even see Patrick Peterson. He's older, but he's going to want at least like 7-8 mil a year. You know what I mean? And we just
I see. I seen Denver cutting AJ Boye also. He another one, a
he,
veteran. Going out there. He may not cost as much.
yes, you're
At this
right.
point in his career.
That is the one guy who is better than Jalen Mills, and because he's going to be suspended for the first 2 games because he violated policy or something. So with him being suspended for 2 games, the fact that he's been playing not so good ever since he had that Pro Bowl year on side of Jalen Ramsey, you probably can get him at the dollar store too. Instead of the dollar value, he's the $2.99 special, but it's still something that's in our budget. I'm never saying that I want Jalen Mills back because he's good. I'm saying, bro, Jalen Mills is better than an empty spot. You know, we got to fill the roster. And with Nickel Roby-Coleman, Jalen Mills, Ronnie McLeod being hurt, our secondary is holy. And I'm not talking like Holy Bible. I'm talking like no one's there. Now, maybe Kevon Wallace can step up. If you feel like Marcus Epps can play better than Jalen Mills, I guess. But the only thing I'm saying is this. If you get Jalen Mills on the cheap, he can drop back to 2 positions. I'm not saying he can play him well, but at least you got a body there. AJ Boye is someone I would look at. Again, when I look at his talent, I'm like, yeah. But you gotta you gotta understand that we're not. Listen, in 2017, we went into, or before we won the Super Bowl, we went into free agency like we got 30 million over. Let's go. We can give me Alshon. Let me get Patrick Robinson on a veteran deal who can come and spark. Chris Long, come over here. Torrey Smith, you're a little bit older, but you still got a deep threat. We could spend. We don't got spending money. So I think you got to bridge the gap, and you might have to take people you don't really love for a little bit longer. But don't mistake it. I don't think Jalen Mills is good. Hurts is good. Mills, no. Shout out to my guy, Steven Prime Time, Joyce21 with the $5 super chat. But real quick, your take. What do you think AJ Boye would cost for a year coming off that problem child season?
Like I said, he's getting a little older up there. Unless he wants to go, you see, I don't know if he wants to go to a contender for cheap, or if he just want to make a little bit of money. With him, I think you could get him between probably around 7, or so, or maybe around between 5 and 7. I'll say that you could probably get him. But the thing is, though, with him, what worry me is, does he want to go to a team that's ready to win now?
Yeah.
Because he's an older player. He got close with Jacksonville, and he got some questionable calls against the Patriots in that game. And then in Denver, obviously, he didn't win anything over there. So he's not that old. He should be around Slay's age. Well, there he goes. Somebody sees 29.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would look at him. But I say between 5 and 7. If you decide that you don't want to go corner in the top 10 of the draft.
Yeah. And that's where Howie can do this. Like, just say you get a guy who you want to play money. And right now, this year, we're going to be a little bit tight with money. But next year, you might be able to get some freedom, especially if we draft 10 guys and 4 or 5 of them are solid. Again, you're like only 5. The hit rate once you get past the 4th round is good. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's tough, especially for Howie. If we can get 4 or 5 players who can be impact players, then you could start relieving some money, so it will get better. So you can always try to get a guy like AJ Boye on a 2-year deal. It's risky to give him less upfront and more on the back end, for the simple fact it will help us sign a guy in a time that we are struggling with money. But if you sign him with the less now and more later, and he stinks the first year, it sucks to knowing that you got to pay him even more on the second year, and he's probably going to be worse. So it's like a risk that you got to play with, and that's what Howie's done. He kicked the can down the line, and it's finally up to where he's kicking it, but it's up against a brick wall now. There's no more line.
Oh yeah, he's jamming his toe and kicking it now.
But hey, real quick shout out to everybody in here. We got 209 people in the live chat.
Awesome.
We've been going on for exactly 1 hour and 20 minutes. 1 hour and 20 seconds. So right at the hour mark. If you're coming in here like y'all talking about signing free agents and draft, but the title's about Carson and Howie, we spent the first good 30 minutes discussing that. So if you do want that take, you can always rewatch this. Not the whole thing, but the first 15 to 20 minutes when we went in on that discussion. You know how I do. Once the chat starts taking us away, we just go with the flow. You know what I mean? We're going to hit a few points, and then we're going to get up out of here. But listen, 224 people in here now. Do me a favor, smash the like button. It's free. It's easy. It don't cost a thing, and it pushes the stream out. I greatly appreciate it. And my guy, Mr. Dugas, if you don't know who he is, go to the search bar during the video, after the video, type in what you see on the screen, watch an Eagles video. I promise you'll like what he's spitting, and you can hit that red button. But so I pretty much want to say this. I really want to ask you this, because I messaged you after the signing happened. And I wanted to say this for the last. You were upset about our guy, Nick Sirianni. And again, listen, guys, if you're not subscribed to him, I think the first video you should watch is his rant on Nick Sirianni. Now, he wished this guy nothing but luck. He said, I never want a guy to do bad. He's my Eagles coach. I want him to succeed. But give me a couple of reasons why you were so down on a pick early, and have you came around since different reports came out, a little bit at least?
Since I've came around a little bit since then. But initially I was livid, man, because in a year where you have other quality candidates out there as far as their resumes, what they've done, and for you, nobody else interviewed the guy. Like me, what I like to do is, like, I knew we really messed up with Justin Jefferson when Minnesota picked them the very next pick. It's like, oh, y'all don't want him? Okay, we'll take him. Yeah. With Nick Sirianni, it's like nobody else even considered him. And I'm looking at it as far as, at the time, I'm like, man, we only got this guy because he's here to fix Carson Wentz, because he's been with Frank Reich for so many years, so he gonna bring in the whole Frank Reich philosophy and everything. And I felt like we were hiring a coach for one guy. So that's what really, really made me disappointed. And his press conference, though I know press conferences are press conferences, that didn't make it any better. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Because it's when you up here, like, now, as far as the Wentz thing, I get it now, because they wasn't sure that Wentz was going to be here. So I know he didn't really want to elaborate on Wentz and Hurts much. But it's like, yo, at least tell me, Miles Sanders is a very talented runner. I feel like, we could turn him into a Pro Bowler. Or, Jalen Vega has talent. We could start using them, and, tell us about the players we have. And now I'm not saying you got to tell us on 3rd and 5, we're going to run this. I'm not expecting that. But at least give me some type of hope as far as, what you expect out of your team from a philosophy standpoint. All this, we got to love the players and hug them and, and buy the kids Christmas gifts and all that. I mean, that's not really, getting me excited of him as a head coach, and it was more so because I felt like there were more better candidates out there, that Howie and Jeffrey Lurie have just, lately they've been trying to make it all about them. They've been trying to do stuff to be like, hey, y'all, look how smart we are, instead of doing the obvious thing, and I felt like he was hired for one player, A player that, I can say we all, but I felt like, okay, it's time maybe we move on from him and Carson Wentz.
Hey, yeah, and it was funny because I was like, I just watched your video and I was like, hey, I see your points on that. And again, and for the people in the chat saying, well, nobody interviewed Doug well as well. I know some people are
Fair
like,
point.
how many times can you strike lightning in the same tunnel? Like, when you found Doug Peterson, who won us a Super Bowl, but nobody put respect on his name. It's like you can't keep thinking that's always going to happen though as well. So I
Right.
understand both sides of it, but I'm always going to give the benefit of the doubt. My things on Nick Sirianni is I like what he was preaching matchup wise. If you looked at the Indianapolis Colts offense, it was nice, but it wasn't nothing like who's all on that staff. I want to take somebody from them. That's why we didn't know his name
Right.
until it was presented. But I do believe he likes to get the running backs involved in the slot and stuff. You saw what's my guy's name? The passing running back for the
Naheem Hines.
Nyheim Hines, not yet. The rookie Jonathan Taylor, not him, but Nyheim Hines in the slot. He uses that, and we got to see that with. I almost said LaShawn McCoy with Miles Sanders for the simple fact his rookie season he was a deadly receiver. Last year couldn't catch a ball, and we didn't use him in that situation. But like I said, shout out to everybody who came through. My guy Jeremiah Butler in here. We're gonna finish up on the Howie Roseman Wentz stuff because we came in talking about him. We're gonna go out talking about him. So kind of we're gonna sum it up what we've been saying and some final thoughts on that. Do you think? I know you said he has to go because it's just a GP general principle of the point of what happened. But do you see with Howie Roseman making just crazy calls? Do you see any scenario where we just keep him and have a quarterback competition?
No, no, no. It'll get ugly. It would get really, really, really ugly. Not just with the locker room. Wentz made it clear that he don't want to do that. Like Wentz, I think like Wentz would probably, though we're not hearing it directly from him, we are hearing it from his camp that he wants out and everything. But I think he would make it obvious at that point. So Wentz is gone. Like Wentz is all but gone. I just think now it's all a matter of how he fleece somebody, or will he just be like, you know what? I know people gonna be upset with what we get in return, but we just have to move on from him.
Hey, I can say this real quick. Shout out to my guy, I am Ruiz. We're going to be talking about that. Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, all that real soon. We did touch on that a little bit earlier. But let me just say this. I believe once the trade hits, if a trade hits, which I am leaning 85% he's going to get traded, but there's still 15% saying that Howie did too much, where it was like this. I had somebody who was offering, I put my car for sale for $5,000. Somebody offered me $4,000. I wasn't feeling that $4,000. I pushed a point. Now I come back for $4,000, and now they're only saying $2,500. And I'm like, dang, see, I messed up. Now either keep the car or sell it for $2,500, like my guy Mr. Dugas says. But I could see him saying, "Well, that would really put my name bad in. My name's already bad with the community." With the Eagle fans, he knows that people don't like him. So I could see him saying, you know what? If I trade him for something less than what people think, I'm going to look bad. I'll already look bad. I can't look any worse. Let me just keep him and hope the best that we can fix him. Because again, there was a conversation with everybody we talked to when it came to the coaches. Can you fix Carson Wentz? And so I think they went into that mindset. Howie Roseman got gun happy. And I think he made moves prior to really looking at the whole situation. So I still think there's 15%. Again, if he's back, though, it's going to be bad for both camps. I agree 100%. It'd be bad for both camps. You got the other 52 men in the locker room who are like,
yes.
Now again, would that make Wentz be on his best behavior, or would that everybody in the locker room be like, Wentz, like if I say something wrong to him, I'm going, the low totem pole players who are on 1-year deals, I might be out of here. I don't know. It's a lot of speculation. But I think there's still 15% that it just doesn't get done because of that. You know,
Right.
what are we going to say to
Yeah.
Howie if he comes away with like we trade Carson Wentz? And again, you're also talking about the $34 million you're gonna have to be hit with. At the end of the day, this is my whole take on that $34 million. Listen, if he plays in 2021, you're going to have to pay him 34 or 35 million. So that 35 million is gone if he plays, but then you still have that $35 million being used as a player. If he's gone, that $35 million is now called dead cap for a year. Next year, if we do it the right way, we get rid of him before March 19th. In 2022, we don't got to pay him nothing. And here's the thing.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts is only making, I think his contract was what, 4 million for 4 years? I think it's no, it might be a little bit more than
It
that.
might be cheaper than I think it was a little cheaper than that.
Oh, and
I'm gonna have to see exactly. I know
yeah.
it's a 4-year deal because he was a second rounder. But I'm gonna have to see the exact numbers on it again.
If anybody in the chat knows what he makes yearly, I think he made like 4 or 5 million total. So whatever that equals, if you keep in your mind that Jalen Hurts is only making 2 million this year, we have 34 million of dead cap. Let's just pretend that he's a $36 million quarterback for 1 year and takes it, and then he goes back. So it's not like the thing would be if you got a $34 million hit and you got to go sign a quarterback. That would be the problem because listen, even a D plus, C plus quarterback is going to cost you at least 15 million. The only reason Cam Newton signed for that little bit of money is because he wanted to go to a guy he thought could revive his career and he had to show a lot. But if you signed a Nick Foles, if he's under contract, but if you sign someone who's a mid-level player, if you sign a Marcus Mariota, he's going to be like 11, 12, 13 million. So now you're talking about 34 million plus 14 million. That's overwhelming. But because we got a second round cheap quarterback, I think we could get away with it if that's the route they go. Shout out to my guy Kevin Bacon with another $3.99 super chat. Relax, Mike. Don't go nowhere yet. We having fun. he wants us to stay on longer. He's like Battlebirds podcast be going for like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's a great way you put that though. That's a very good way to put that though. You got somebody in that spot that's not making anything. So especially if he plays well, like you said, you would think if Hurts goes out there and plays very, very well and becomes a very good starting quarterback, you would have to pay him around that anyway. So, in the future. So I'm 100% with you on don't stress over the dead money since we got a quarterback basically making nothing that's sliding right on in. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, shout out to you, Kevin. And that's what I think people don't see. It's the fact that the dead money would be very critical if you had to go out and figure out that situation. Again, even a guy like Joe Flacco, if you sign him to be a backup, he might cost $6 million. But if you sign him saying he has to play, you can't really make somebody play. He's going to probably cost at least 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 million because you got to look at what Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback now, but starting quarterbacks make at least 15, 20, 25 million. It's just what it is. Now the guys who are getting paid in 2021, 2022, Deshaun Watson, 40 plus mil. Dak Prescott's going to get a $40 million deal. It's just the nature of the game. So although the money we gave Carson Wentz looks bad now, because the situation, we paid him early because he was projected to go up. He might still go up with Philly or without Philly, I don't know. But we paid him because he was projected to go up, and we paid him when we knew that if we didn't, just say Carson Wentz played up to standards, and we paid him now, we'd be in the same situation with Dak, where it's going to be 30, it's going to be close to 40 million per year and bloody blue, blue, blah. You know what I mean? So I think at the time we were doing the right thing. It just doesn't look like it now because of everything that's happening, and you don't pay a guy and then have to get rid of him before his contract kicks in. Like, it doesn't happen.
It's crazy that it's got to that point. At the time, and then a lot of people, they shouldn't have looked. At the time, Wentz was a good quarterback, and like you said, that's the market. I can't get mad. How we got too much things we could blame him on than for us to blame him for the Wentz contract. So we can't get mad at him for rewarding a good quarterback with good quarterback salary. The thing we can get on him for, though, in a weird way, it may end up working out for us, is that you take a quarterback in the second round the following year. And the reports with that was supposedly we needed a backup, and he didn't want to send a Josh McCown back out there if we got to the playoff and Wentz got hurt again. And he didn't want to play a Flacco or Andy Dalton or somebody like that, $5+ million. So he was like, well, let's get a young quarterback that's going to come in and, could at least spell Wentz if he does get injured. But I don't think we drafted him because we seen him as the future of the quarterback position. I think what everybody wanted was for Wentz to just be a consistent, top 5 to top 10 quarterback in this league, and then you have a decent, solid quarterback behind him, that maybe in a few years you could trade him for like a higher mid-round pick or so. But it's just crazy that it's still unbelievable that we've gotten to this point, man, because I just keep thinking about, man, when Wentz tore his ACL in LA, I didn't sleep that night. I kept waking up out my sleep like, it's just a sprain. It's just a sprain. And then when I seen Doug come on and the first thing he said, yeah, it's a torn ACL. And I'm just like, my goodness, man.
You know what the first thing that popped in my head?
Was that?
Because it was the ACL/MCL. I just thought of RG3. RG3. My first thing that came in, because RG3 was a phenom, had that injury. And listen, Carson Wentz 18 and 19 was better than what RG3 did after the injury. So he's not that. But at the moment, I said no. That was the first thing in my mind. I was distraught.
Yeah, I was sick. Now I felt like Foles would do solid, but I honestly thought our Super Bowl chances was done. At the time, I really did. But man, to go from that point where we just loved the guy to now, it's like we just like we'll take a second rounder just to get him out of town. It's bad, yo. It's bad.
You're right. Hey, the crazy thing would be is if we had to do the Jared Goff way and pay draft capital, because the only way we get out of this situation is if we hit drafts. Shout out to my guy Philly Fresh in the chat. But real quick, shout out to my guy Jeremiah Butler with the $2.99 super chat. Mike, I need that wrench up out here, champ. And I got you with it, my guy. Appreciate you for the $2.99 super chat. But listen, again, I had faith in John Dorsey, taking a little bit of the lead ranks, and then he's like, peace, I'm going to the Detroit Eagles. The Detroit Eagles. They got Deuce, they got John Dorsey, they got Dave Flip, they got it all.
Yeah.
But shout out to my guy Philly Fresh said, Howie said, I'm not missing on Russell Wilson again. Didn't sound like he was drafting a backup to me. Yo, that though. Exactly. But you know what makes me point. But you know what makes it so crazy at this point? He said that, which makes him, like you said, Philly Fresh, doesn't seem like you're drafting a backup. You're drafting your guy. You compare someone to Russell, Super Bowl champion Wilson, that's your guy. But also, it didn't make sense either, because we didn't get Russell Wilson. Andy Reid had Russell Wilson on his board. Andy Reid invited Russell Wilson here. There's an article out there still that the Eagles are going to pick Russell Wilson. What happened was this. For those who don't remember, Seattle Seahawks traded up in front of us to steal Russell Wilson, and then we still went quarterback that same draft. Do you know who we drafted? Nick Foles.
Oh, Nicky Foles.
So the thing was, if Seattle does not move up, we are taken. Andy Reid is taking him. But like any good coach, as Andy Reid was, who was probably involved with the draft picks, he had a credible credibleness with Howie Roseman. They said our backup would be Nick Foles, and we got him. And then Nick Foles up and down career. I don't care about it because it got me a ring, but he's not meant for the city no more. Shout out to my guy, love him to death. I love him to death. You know what I mean? Like you said, you didn't believe it, but he did it. He pulled it out. 2 great games, and he did other stuff for the city, like the 27-2 season. He did a lot, but two
Mhm.
huge games, probably the best when it comes back to back like that. Woo.
Oh yeah. That. I mean, I was like, what got into him, man? Like, but I'm glad
Exactly. But
because.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say because I mean, we barely won that Atlanta game, yo. Like it wasn't. That was more of a defensive struggle type of game. And for him to come out after that and just light up a really good Minnesota Vikings defense. And then of course we all know what he did in the Super Bowl. Always got love for him for that. Always gonna have love for him for that.
Exactly. I agree. I'll never say anything bad about him, but I just don't think that if you're going to, again, if you're going to rebuild, listen, and that's another thing I've been saying. Look, here's the thing: if the Eagles think they're not going to compete for 3 years, if we're not going to compete for 2 or 3 years, just say before this Carson Wentz stuff, if you're not going to compete for 2 to 3 years, then Carson Wentz is going to be 31 before you even start competing. If you think that's the case, then you just go Jalen Hurts anyways. But now we're in this
Right.
whole crazy world of though the Philly media is bad. And like I said, I just wanted to get on here and talk about the situation because, again, for those just coming in here, I'm 85% he's still going to get traded, but it's now 15% that we just might be like, it's over. Let's just keep him. We failed at doing it because I believe it's going to look worse on Howie if he does pull the trigger for something like the second round pick and something like that. It's always going to be like, what is Carson doing? Who do we draft in the second round? And
Mhm.
it's just gonna look bad on him. And I don't know if he can do that. I think that he got a decent offer when Adam Schefter said it's imminent and it's going to happen. We just don't know exactly what for, but it's a blockbuster trade. And Howie said, let me get a little bit greedy. And I think that's what happened. Again, speculation. I'm not putting this in right. I'm not swearing it happened. I'm not sourcing nobody. It's just me with a camera saying my opinion on that little take. You know what I mean?
Oh, I could definitely see that happening. Because it was like you said, everybody was like, as soon as the Super Bowl over with, boy, watch this Carson Wentz deal that's going down. And now it's like, well, teams are backing out and all this. I'm like, boy, there go Howard, man. There he go, just pissing everybody off, man. You know, People like, tell me about your last couple of drafts. Tell me about your team last year. I'm not being fleeced by you. Like that's how Bears and Colts and all them looking at Howie right now. But I do think the longer it goes on, the worse. Though I do think that the longer it goes on, the less we're going to get back for him.
I agree.
Because teams are going to start being secure in their situation. They're going to start looking ahead, like you said with the Bears. They'll start realizing, you know what, we really ain't got that good of a team anyway. So let's just ride this thing out and then get a new coach, new GM, whatever, and then maybe the following year if we pick it in the top 5, 10 or whatever, we get our quarterback then. You know. So yeah, the more it goes on, the less we're going to get from them.
And so Brandon said, what if we what we end up getting only a
Oh, now that I'll be upset. Like a second round pick, I'm not happy, but I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. Let's just move on. Oh, a third, I'm livid. A
Yeah,
third, I am
you said a
livid.
second and a player. You said a second and a
And,
player.
exactly a player. But a third, just a third, even if it's a third and a player, it's like nah, I'm livid. Like come on. I mean, the man was, like the NFL list that they do the top 100 players.
He was 2, right?
I mean, he was number 3 one year,
Three,
only
three,
behind
three.
Brady and Antonio Brown. Like he was number 3 one year, and that wasn't 10 years ago. Like come on, y'all. like worst case, like absolute worst case scenario. Like I said, a second and a player.
Well,
Like we get to third, it's like, man, you you still got to move him though. Like you still got to move him. But I'm not happy at all if that happened. Oh no, not at all.
When is the first day of the league calendar? Do you know?
It's March the hold on, I'm about to check it out right now as we speak.
Yeah,
I know it's in March.
if somebody in the chat knows right away, let us know, because I believe this too. One of the reasons why a report came out that the Bears are getting frustrated and, are rehashing it, they got to figure out what they're going to do with Nick Foles. March 19th. So that's what it is. So the new league counter, that's why Carson Wentz gets his money at that place too. So as much, again, here's the thing. Carson Wentz gets his a roster bonus in March 19th, and Nick Foles, they don't want Nick Foles on their roster closing in on March 19th. So they got to figure out, Howie, are we going to do the deal? Are you going to take Foles? Are we going to give Foles to another team? We need to figure this out because we can't have Foles on. I forgot what reason. I was reading it. But so March 19th is a deal. And so we can literally be in this limbo for at least early part of March.
Yeah. It's March 19th.
It is?
Wow. So it's March 19th. So got approximately 5 weeks or so? 4 or 5 weeks, I want to say.
Today's what? Today's the 10th. Yeah.
Today's the 10th. So about 5 weeks or so, 5.5, something like that.
Hey, March 19th is my anniversary for being married. So I'm all telling my wife I got to hold up. We got to figure out what's happening with Carson. I don't
know if that's going to go well.
I agree. Hey, March 14th is my birthday, and then March 19th I got married. So she takes over the March holiday now, though. So it's like not even mine anymore.
They got. Hopefully they trade them before March, man.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to enjoy my March. I'm not trying to be like, huh? And the crazy thing is, when they said about putting like Nick Foles in the deal, like I don't understand how that would work. Yeah, that first of all, I wouldn't want to run that back with the same pressure on Jalen, even though I think Jalen's a different type of guy. You don't got to put that on him. But listen, when you set up any player, we got to take that player's contract. So I mean, and that's where it gets crazy too. That's why I'm cool with like a first, and I'm just cool with picks only, because if you take a player, if he's cheap, well, then he's probably not that good. But if he's expensive or decently expensive, well, now you're talking about the $34 million dead hit. Plus, you got to take on this $8 million that you owed that the player we got from the Bears or the Colts. You see what I'm saying? So now it becomes we just went from being $34 million of either starting, not a starting, but on the roster Carson or off the roster Carson at 34 to now we got to pay $9 million for this. Whoever we got, the linebacker, Roquan Smith or whoever. So I'm with give me the picks, because I don't care if you're a second round pick, first round pick, as long as it's not a quarterback in the first round, they're going to get paid pennies to the dollar. We need all the young, cheap guys we can get, or we'll be stuck with. Listen, if we don't get young, cheap guys that are good in this draft, we will keep Nathan Gary and Jalen Mills.
Oh, man. They got, those two there, man. I mean, they better be gone. They better be gone, man. Look, Jalen Mills, LSU guy, I love him. Well, my goodness, man. I still be fathoming how we won a Super Bowl with him as our number 2 corner. And remember, a good chunk of the year, he was the number 1 corner because Ronald Darby got hurt in week 1, and it was him and Douglas out there. So, wow. But man, we we gotta hit on this draft, man. We gotta hit on this draft, yo.
We definitely
gotta hit on this draft.
And when that was crazy. Some guy says we getting Deshaun. What are we giving them for Deshaun? That's the crazy thing. When that news came out about Wentz and Ertz for Deshaun, I mean, you can never say never, because players can probably try to renegotiate their contract. But you would need Deshaun to renegotiate, and you would need Carson Wentz to hugely renegotiate, because we're still going to be accounted for that dead money. So physically, you would need them to both take major pay cuts to do that. But man, Deshaun Watson, and again, we were just comparing Wentz and Deshaun Watson. And let me just say this: I do believe the talent's there with Carson Wentz. I just don't know if it can come out in Philly anymore because of the situation. I just think it's gone. But listen, wherever he goes, I'm going to root for the guy unless he's squaring up against the Eagles. If he goes to the AFC, then it's 100%, because we play the Chiefs division. We play the Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. We play them. So we
Mm-hmm.
don't touch the Colts for next year. Go ahead and do your thing. Now, if he plays for the Bears, you know what I mean? And we need that last wild card spot. Come on, Carson. Fumble the ball late in the
Yeah,
game. Let's get it for
yeah.
Could you imagine if we played because I don't think we play the Bears next year. I didn't check.
No, I know we matched with the South, so we gonna play the whole South, and Detroit was last in that, so we gonna play Detroit at the NFC North instead of Chicago. So
Could
so
you
we avoid them
imagine
this
though?
year.
Nah,
It's gonna happen
it's
sooner
gonna happen. It's
than
gonna
later
happen.
in the next couple of years or so. But that would be something. That would definitely be something. Just like just to get off of Eagles for a split second. Next year, Tom Brady plays in New England with Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
You know, like that's like imagine what that's gonna be like.
exactly.
You know, but yeah, but it's not gonna happen this year, but it's gonna happen in the next couple of years or so.
Yeah, and by then we might have fans in the stands. It might be in the link, and I would definitely go. I'm not gonna do the general boo, but I'm going to that game definitely. I'll risk it even with COVID to see that, just because it's just so much. It's so much. But hey, shout out to everybody who's rocking with us for an hour and 30 minutes. We pretty much were gonna close it up at the hour part, and we went another 30 piece for you guys. Again, shout out to my guy, Mr. Dugas. Love doing it. We only ever collabed once, but it was all four of us with the Battle Birds podcast. It was a great time. Definitely got to get you on some more Battle Birds podcasts. And like I said, when you're available, just let me know your schedule. We can do this more often, especially when it's season time and we got a lot to talk about. Which, hey,
Yes.
the Eagles are keeping it as drama filled as possible. And as my guy Philly 500 said, it gives us content to talk about. But I much rather be talking about something that makes me smile. You know what I mean? That I feel good about. I don't want to talk about this, but it's huge for the simple fact I just moved it up. Now I was 85-15. Now I'm 83-17. It's starting to leave. Oh man, the longer it goes, 17% that he's staying now. You know what I mean? I don't know.
See, I'm about 95-5. I ain't gonna lie.
95-5.
I'm about 95-5. That's where I'm at right now. I would be shocked if they bought him back.
Oh, so,
I think honestly, Howie would take a third before he bought him back. Like he would just be like, you know what?
You don't think that would
I would be upset, but
you don't think that would
I think he would take
slap in the face to Howie Roseman? Can't draft.
Oh, it would.
Can't trade.
It would. It definitely would. But that's why he has to get this thing done as soon as possible, because and that's what Howie does, man. He just gets to thinking that he's just smarter and more intelligent than everybody. Like JJ, when we picked JJ Ortega-Whiteside, I'm like, who? Like, I don't know this guy, and he was like selling us on. I was up all night at 1 a.m. watching the Pac-12 and all this other nonsense. And with Jalen Reagor, it's like, well, look at his quarterback had the worst target rate or something like that throwing to him. That's why he didn't catch as much as Jefferson. And that's the thing with him, man. He overdoes it. He overdoes it. And I want the organization to just start doing the obvious stuff. Do the obvious stuff, man. Look, try your hardest to get a first. But if they keep going lower and lower and lower, just get it done. Get it done.
Yeah. And Will Stentz, shout out to you, my guy. He said about packaging Ertz in the trade. I think it depends on who he's going to. Someone like the Colts. The Colts got the third most money to spend. The Colts got I want to say, I did a video about it. When Phillip Rivers retired, I did can Carson Wentz go there? This was before the main trade topic came up. Carson Wentz was pretty much staying a Philadelphia Eagle when I did that video. It was the day after he retired, and I looked it up and I said, "Dang, they got the third most cap room." So you could do a trade like that. You could pocket Ertz and Wentz off to get more. knowing that Ernst is going to be going regardless because they got the money to hold that. But I don't know
Mhm.
about the Bears. I think the Bears are struggling too. So I don't know if that is possible. But I did see something else I wanted to say real quick. I lost it. Lost it. But to your thing. So let me ask you this. So you think a bigger slap to Howie's face? Now, let's not talk about it in Carson's. Let's not think about Carson at this point. Let's not think about the
Mhm.
Eagles. Let's think only about Howie. Do you think it's a bigger slap in the face to settle for something really bad in the trade, or to just try to? I know it's probably unfixable, but just to try to cater to Carson or just fix it. What do you think is a bigger slap to Howie as a GM? Like, wow, this guy just got he failed totally. Which one's more of a bigger slap?
Oh, that's a great question, actually. Because they both look bad. If you throw all that out there and it's like, you know what, forget all that. You was our guy all along, you know. Or if you take a third round pick for this quarterback, they both are horrible. But for Howard's sake, I'm gonna say as if he returns because now it's not just him. Now it's not just him and the fan base, but now it's the locker room you're upsetting. The locker room, honestly, is not really caring what they get for him. You know, to be honest, it's just like, look, let's just know that Hurts is our guy, and let's just go forward and try to get this thing headed in the right direction. But if you bring him back and you know that he's publicly said he does not want to be a backup quarterback, so either way, if you leave him there as a backup quarterback, it's a locker room. Is more of a locker room problem because now what he's going to be pouting in there, you know. Or if you start him over Hurts when everybody, so well, I would say everybody, but the majority of the locker room would prefer Hurts starting. That's even more of a bigger deal. So I say that it would be more of a slap in the face for him if he tries to bring him back with all the reports being thrown out there, with everything going on in the locker room and everything. Because this franchise already appears to show favoritism for him. Now, for you to go ahead and do that for the quarterback also, then it's really, really, really not a good look at all.
Yeah, shout out to Sports. What Kama said. No, at this point, get what you can so the franchise can move on. And I agree. Listen, I think it
Yeah,
would hurt Howie alone to take a really horrible deal like a third, but I think it would hurt the team more to bring Carson back if you're already this far gone, because again, you got the guys who are going to be like, who's the leader? Who's the guy? You got guys who got to pick sides when it's the quarterback competition. It's just going to do a lot more harm to not just these quarterbacks, but to all other 52 players on the roster, to the coaching staff, because the coaching staff is going to feel some type of way too.
right.
Like, oh, wait, Carson runs this play better, but it's just going to be so many apples and oranges. He does this better. And it's like, okay, well, this is the kind of offense I would give for Carson. This is the kind of offense I would give for Hurts. It's just going to put us behind the 8 ball. So I agree. Now that you done came out and pretty much started packing his bags, what else is left, my guy? What else is left? Shout out to DH Eagles, the two of the realest content creators. Salute to you both. Shout out
My
to you guys.
guy.
We've been on for an hour and 38. Every time we say we out, we get pulled back in. You know how it is when you're talking birds and there's so much controversy around it. It's just like, I got to finish it. But like I said, if you haven't done it, smash the like button for your boy. It helps push this out to other Philly fans. We need everybody. Shout out to you guys for staying tuned for an hour and 30. Still got a $157 in here. And again, if you haven't done it, the like button is one thing. Do it for your boy Philly Mike, but go check out my guy, Mr. Dugas. He does, he's an LSU fan when it comes to college. He's a Miami Heat fan when it comes to the NBA. So we're gonna listen. If we get to a critical game where it's Sixers versus Miami Heat, we definitely it won't be a agree on stream. It will be a me versus him stream. You know what I mean? I feel confident about the way the Miami Heat's been playing compared to my 76ers, though. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah. Got our little 3-game winning streak going, but it's been rough this year though. Y'all looking good though, I must
yeah.
say.
Doc Rivers, my guy. But shout out to
Yeah.
Jeremiah Butler with the $4.99 super chat. I recommend everybody to watch J Kim media interview with Rob Maddie, all about Howie media manipulation. I've been
Mm.
seeing in my recommended videos that J Kid Media. I have never clicked on it yet, but I'm gonna have to check it out, Jeremiah. I do be seeing it in my recommended videos, so I'm gonna look in that. Howie is really good at media manipulation. Definitely,
Oh yeah.
definitely good at that.
Gotta
But
cover his backside.
and like I said, if and when, which I think it's more when than if, Carson Wentz is gone, you can expect so many, the Jeff McClains, the Tim McManuses, the Elliott Short Parks, whatever his name is, and shout out to 2020. He's gonna say, "Dang, Mike, you don't know another guy's name." Because I said Mike Garibaldi instead of what's his name, Mike Garafolo or
Garofolo.
Garofolo, but I said Mike Garibaldi, and then some people were saying it to me in my video. I was like, "Well, he's bald, right? You know what I mean? Let it be what it is. You know what I mean? I'm just giving him his new name." But
Right.
I think when it comes to, dang, I forgot what I was gonna say now. To be honest, because of the super chat. What was I just saying before the baldy?
Um. Uh. Dang, I forgot myself.
It's
Hold
all good. It's all good. Shout out to my guy
on.
where you're hiding with the $4.99 super chat. He said, "Hey Roseman, what's taking so long?" Shout out to Mr. Philly Mike and Mr. Dugas. Shout out to you.
What's going on?
Right now, Howie, where you hiding? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. But
Yes.
yeah, I forgot. I was gonna say something, but it was about thing. Oh, shout out to Rashad Gibson. He said it earlier when we were talking about Jalen Hurts' contract. He's only going to be paid $800,000 according to my guy Rashad Gibson. So,
Okay.
he's saying, how do you know the majority of the locker room thinks Hurts to start? Seems to me the leadership of the team loves Carson. But here's the thing: how much of the leadership's coming back? You know, the Jason Peters, some of these, the Zach
Great
Ertz,
point.
how many of these, the Deshaun Jacksons, Alshon Jeffrey already, you know where he lies, but he's not coming back. At the end of the day, it comes down to this. That's the thing, and it might be more Carson than Hurts, but you can't have this friction. I think if we went about the trade differently, you could have put his name out there and pulled back. But because it went this deep, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Carson's been silenced, but we do hear reports from 97 to Fanatic that the one guy's phone call he won't take is Howie's. And Howie's the one who's been leaking all this. And Howie's the one who's been the only thing Howie's done that showed he has faith in Carson was sign him that contract. And that is a big faith, a big huge bag of faith, I should say. He gave him the bag, and that was the faith he had into him. However, everything he's done else says otherwise, and he's also hurt this team even beyond Carson Wentz. So I think it's just like the only thing really saving Carson is if you get rid of Howie Roseman, which, as Mr. Dugas says, that's a lifetime contract. I think if Howie Roseman ultimately fails, if Carson Wentz goes somewhere and he's successful year one and we stink year one and his contract is up, I think you can see the switch then, but you need everything to go wrong for Howie. And then the 1-year contract's up. And I still think that Laurie's going to fire him a very respectable way, like Howie, just step away, act like you were done with the contract and you want to do something else. That's the only way. But like Mr. Dugas says, if we have any gleam of hope, if it looks like he was successful in any way, that's another 35-year contract right there.
Oh yeah. His kids gonna take over after that. Like it's going down to the kids, the grandkids. I mean, it's lifetime. I mean, he well affiliated. He all in, yo. Might give him a piece of the team. Like he might have him in the will for the if something ever happened to Mr. Lure, God forbid, like Howie may get a share of the team. So I mean,
yo, that you just said it, that he might have him in the will that he takes over the team. So now he'll be the new Jerry Jones, the owner and the general manager, and there's nothing we could do about it. That will be the worst. I don't even know why we said that. I don't even know why we said that. I said it.
I don't know.
That is horrible. That is horrible.
I just feel like this man is never going to go nowhere. The best thing for us is to hope that, he has shown that he's better, like I said, at building a team as opposed to keeping a team afloat. Tearing it down and building it back up. He actually did a good job of it. After the Chip Kelly giving all our players away for bag of chips debacle.
Yeah.
As to far as to now, we're gonna have to have another type of rebuild like that right now.
Yeah, we were able to quick turnaround rebuild though, so I'm hopeful we can quick return to at least contending. I like to go into the season knowing we got a shot to get to the playoffs, or actually believing we got a shot. But look, shout out to Jeff Bone and Pokey said, is that Mr. Dugas? And then he realized it was. He realized it was a little bit later. He was like, yeah, shout out to you guys. Yeah, listen, we've been going an hour and 45 straight. Like I said, man, all you guys got to do is have post notifications on. You get that notification, boom, Mike's going live. Forget Mike, but Mr. Dugas is on the thumbnail. I'm there. You know what I mean? And he's rocking his Sunday special. He had the Carson Wentz jersey on. It's a great way for him to give his take wearing the jersey. And like I said, I took that from his week 1 post game where he was like, yo, it's not funny, man. But I watch all Mr. Dugas post game videos after, because I go live after, and after I do it, I watch Mr. Dugas because it's hilarious. He's either really riding us high when we win, or he keep it real when we lose. And it's like when we win, he starts off with a nice laugh, and he's like, yo, he's all excited to tell you guys to go follow him on all his platforms. But when he loses, he wants to get into the content so quick. He's like, but real quick, y'all can follow me on my platforms. I really don't care. And he just goes in. He just starts going ham.
Oh, yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Emotionally tired, man.
Man. So like I said, shout out to you guys. Listen, turn post notifications on. It's almost 2 hours, and I will be going live with Mr. Dugas again. He will be on Battlebirds podcast with us soon, and you can expect definitely another live between us. Like I said, it flowed. It went good. I think the chat loved it, and we got a lot to talk about, because if next week we're here and it's Wednesday and it's more cricket sound, like what the heck?
It gotta happen quick. It gotta happen soon. Cause the more if March come around, I'm like, oh boy, he go this 3rd round pick, man. Like we getting the 3rd for him, man. Oh, that's not good. Not good at all.
Exactly.
But yeah, but hopefully it gets done soon, so we could just focus on this season, focus on the draft. Focus on what we're gonna do with the extra pick, that we're gonna have. Would love for it to be another first, but it gotta happen. It gotta happen soon. It gotta happen soon. But because he cannot. I'm not. I'm at 97.3 now. Like I'm 97.3 now. Like I'm getting close to 99 that he has to go.
Yeah.
He has to.
Dang, 97-3. That he's getting close. He's about to be at that 100 spot very soon.
Because another thing I just thought about, it's a brand new coaching staff also. If Wentz was supposedly being hard-headed, which the reports were, with a Super Bowl winning head coach, you think Wentz really want to listen to a new, young in coach? And all of his staffers are all young coaches also, so it's a big personality. So
here would be my drawback on that. I feel like when you break up with one person, you can blame it on the other person. But if you break up with multiple people for the same thing, you got to start looking at yourself in the mirror. So I think Wentz is not a dumb guy. He's very smart. That's why he might be hard-headed, because he's very smart. I do believe he knows how to get it done up here, and he can do it. Do I believe he put a little extra weight on? I do agree with Philly 500 in that situation, but I think there was just a lot of things that really derailed Carson's. Honestly, you could look at it both sides. You could really look at it the way you said it, that if he couldn't listen to a head coach who won a Super Bowl, he's uncoachable. Or you could look at it like this. If it really was the O-line, if it really was the play calling, if it really was the situation, you're going to get a lot of these veterans out. You're going to bring in a lot of young talent. Robert Davis, Deontay Burnett, all these guys, Boston Scott, Josh Perkins, they weren't good, but they were young and new, and they flowed with Carson better, maybe because they didn't have that situation. Here's the thing. I believe Carson Wentz is out, and I think it's best for the organization at this moment. But I'm always going to have in the back of my head, like the Sixers, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. I wanted to see them before we trade them. I wanted to see them under a competent coach. And I'm not saying Doug's not competent, but his play calling version of himself to me wasn't competent. So we got Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid's an MVP candidate. And Ben Simmons still got stuff to work on, but the Sixers look better. You know what I mean? They look better. They look healthier. So my thing is, I would still want to say maybe Carson looks at himself in the mirror at an all-time high because of everything that happened. And what could he do if Nick Sirianni runs the ball 20 times? What could he do if we roll him out? What could he do if he got play action? Because then I'm like, because if he goes to the Bears or the Colts and is successful, I'm thinking he could have been successful with the veterans out and a new coaching staff. But that's a lot of ifs to be getting ready to pay this guy franchise money. And it just came to a point now where what you saw was a horrible Carson Wentz. As much as the offense is involved in that horribleness, Carson Wentz was a big contributor too. So I think I think Carson Wentz, because I believe in the talent, you can die. To me, I can go both ways. But I think what's best for the Eagles overall, because of everything that happened, is just to possibly part ways at this point. You know, because if he didn't part ways with Carson, you most probably have to part ways with Hurts and Howie, which I'm okay with Howie. Yeah, we all talked about that.
Right. Yeah, Howie, he could have went. He could have left yesterday, and I would have been perfectly fine with that. Yeah. But man, that lifetime contract, man. I mean, all I could do is just hope that he do well. I just hope he does well.
Facts. That's facts. And so, like I said, you can see it both ways when it comes to that situation. Shout out to my guy, 2020 Vision. He said, Mr. Dugas, sit up. We're still going for a few hours, man. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Nah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. But yeah, like I said, now we're at an hour and 51 minutes. We will be cutting this off. Like I said, turn post notifications on. We will be dropping more content out, and definitely go to his channel and subscribe. Turn the post notifications out too. Drops great content. We got a lot to talk about video-wise. We got a lot to talk about going live-wise. I will be going live at least twice a week. I'm making it a point because I loved going live with you guys and anybody I have on the screen. And like I said, we can't get to all the comments out loud when you got someone else because it's a lot of back and forth. But I read them all. That's why I pull them up. And shout out to you guys. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. It helps your boy out. You can't watch me for 2 hours and not hit the like button. That's like kind of illegal. With that being said, go ahead and say your piece. Say your peace out spiel, and we gonna get up off here.
I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Y'all keep following my guy, Philly Mike. Great stuff, man. As always, honored to be here. Appreciate it. And yeah, y'all check out the channel, man. Mr. Dugas. I'll be putting out content throughout the year, yo. I got a lot of other stuff, I do also, but Eagle content, I'll put it out also, yo.
Facts. Real quick to address this. Listen, I didn't give my Sixers jersey out yet, which is going to be coming soon. But so far, I gave Jalen Reagor jersey out before the season started, and I did give out the Jalen Hurts jersey. Mr. Stanley is the one who won the Jalen Reagor, and my guy Daniel Belfield. I forgot to put the picture up in the community post, but Daniel Belfield did win the Jalen Hurts jersey, and it's out to him. He got it. Shout out to my guy, Daniel Belfield. So like I said, sometimes when I do jersey giveaways, I don't give you guys a heads up. So you get that post notification on, you get first come, first serve to the jerseys. We're going to be doing a lot of giveaways because at the end of the day, I appreciate you guys, and I try to always give back to the community. Like I said, I got 500 kids, so I got to take care of them first. But you know how I love you guys. I really do. You already know. And on that note, you guys know what time it is. We out.